Black Frieza vs Beerus, the God of Destruction. Dragon Ball Super's manga is currently on hiatus, and this matchup is inevitable in the future, so why not discuss it in the present? We'll be using Frieza from the manga and putting him up against Beerus from the manga. This will obviously be speculative Dragon Ball power scaling, as there's only so much to go off of. So if you enjoy, subscribe. Frieza's potential has always been consistently insane, and we first get to see what he can actually really do with a limited amount of time in the Resurrection of F arc. Rather than give in to his hatred of Goku, Frieza took time to assess the situation and realized there is actual merit when it comes to training. Frieza would then spend the next 4 months training and would unlock his golden form. In just 4 months, Frieza went from being a Namek level fighter to surpassing current arc Goku. This same Goku has had decades of training and experience, gained a form that could shake the earth and produce enough energy to be sensed from across the universe, and then gained another form that could clash fists with the God of Destruction and threaten to destroy the entire Dragon Ball macrocosm, and in the most recent arc, proceeded to get a form that was 50 times stronger than Super Saiyan God. In total, Goku had 17 years to grow stronger after Namek, and Frieza with just 4 months of training was able to eclipse every milestone and every form that Goku has ever reached, and even surpass fusions such as Super Vegeta from the Buu Saga. The only real flaw in Frieza's plan was that he was still too impatient and didn't bother to properly train his golden form, which had stamina issues. And despite that, he was still above Super Saiyan Blue Goku. He just lost because Goku is flat out a better fighter, as hard work will always beat talent. Even though he was defeated by Goku and sent back to Hell, where he couldn't even train normally, Frieza was still able to grow in power by just image training. By the time of the Tournament of Power, Frieza not only mastered his golden form, but was equal to Super Saiyan Blue Goku post Black Arc, and was able to one-shot Goku out of his own form. Frieza's power was one of the most important aspects of Team Universe 7, and without him, their entire universe would have been erased, as he was one of the last few warriors remaining who could go up against Jiren and his almighty power. The Broly movie didn't do much for Frieza in terms of feats, but it's actually what happens in this movie that serves as an important plot point in the manga. Specifically, Gogeta Blue vs Broly. Frieza was able to sense their power, which gave him all the more motivation he needed to ensure that he would never be surpassed by a Saiyan again. We wouldn't see Frieza pop up in the story for 2 whole arcs until the climax of the Granola arc. This arc involved Goku and Vegeta constantly fighting the strongest mortals in the universe to push themselves and figure out what path of power they need to walk in order to become the best. None of these fighters are slouches either, as Granola was able to one-shot Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku with half of his power. He was even able to evolve and defeat Ultra Ego Vegeta, who just performed far better than Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku and was solely responsible for Granola's evolution. However, even Granola would pale in power in comparison to Gas, as he would be the next mortal to make the wish, automatically making Gas stronger than Granola. Not even the combined power of Master Ultra Instinct Goku and Ultra Ego Vegeta would be enough to fully defeat Gas, and at best push him back. But we'd soon learn that the wish to become the strongest mortal acts like a curse, and as Goku and Vegeta grow and surpass Gas, Gas's body would automatically age and use its lifespan as fuel to make Gas stronger. Even with Goku creating a version of Ultra Instinct that works best with his Saiyan nature, and Vegeta learning and improving with Ultra Ego, it still wasn't enough, as zombie Gas would grow even stronger. Everything changed once Frieza arrived, however, on the planet, and would go on to one-shot Gas in his black form. Frieza's power would be so above Gas that by just trying to adapt and catch up, Gas's body would turn into nothing but bones and dust. Frieza would then reveal to Goku and Vegeta that he spent time in another dimension and came across a planet which had its own version of the hyperbolic time chamber. With this hyperbolic time chamber, Frieza was able to squeeze in 10 years of training and gain his black form. Black Frieza would then proceed to one-shot true Ultra Instinct Goku and Ultra Ego Vegeta. Frieza's potential was already clearly cracked, as in just 4 months he went from Namek level to above Blue, but in 10 years he went from being Blue level to above Ultra Instinct and Ultra Ego, and God knows what else. It gets even crazier when you remember that Frieza knows how strong Goku and Vegeta can get, and honestly isn't surprised by their power growth. During Resurrection of F, Frieza was informed that the Frieza Force had been keeping tabs on Goku's power and even found out that he had defeated Majin Buu. And yet Frieza was not surprised, and if anything suspected Goku to get this much stronger. All he had to say was that he needed 4 months to surpass him, and surpass him he did. Yet, Despite knowing this, Frieza just lets Goku and Vegeta go. This just goes to show how insignificant Goku and Vegeta's power are when compared to Black Frieza. Frieza also goes on to make a statement and says, "I couldn't very well keep losing to Saiyans my whole life, so I needed a bit of a power-up." You could interpret this statement in a number of ways. It could imply that Frieza was motivated to surpass the power of every Saiyan he's encountered, which would include MUI Goku from the TOP, SSJ2 Kefla, SSB Evolution Vegeta, Super Saiyan Broly, Full Power Super Saiyan Broly, and possibly even Gogeta Blue. But this would actually make a lot of sense, and frankly, with the way the power scaling has been going for Dragon Ball Super, Black Frieza being above Broly movie Gogeta Blue isn't the most outlandish take. Gogeta Blue's power has possibly been surpassed since the Moro arc, as MUI Goku would tell Moro that he's the toughest opponent he's ever faced, which would include Full Power Jiren and Full Power Super Saiyan Broly, who you would have memories of fighting as a fusion. When discussing Beerus' power, it gets very complicated. It isn't because he's not involved in the story, but it's because his power is never consistent. He's an ever-moving goalpost that Goku and Vegeta have to catch up to. This all stems from the Battle of Gods arc, where we first see Beerus' power when compared to all the Saiyans, and he far surpasses them in his most suppressed state, whether it's Super Saiyan 3 Goku, Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks, Ultimate Gohan, or even an enraged Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta who surpassed Goku. It doesn't matter. Beerus just stomps them without even trying, only raising his power slightly when he fights against Vegeta, who was his toughest fight of the arc so far. It gets to a point where Goku even states that if he and Vegeta were to fuse, they'd still be inferior to Beerus. This is one of the craziest statements ever made in early Dragon Ball Super, when you realize that fusion is supposed to be an ultimate trump card that will always turn the tides of the battle. But in the case of Beerus, it is meaningless. Goku has to get a new form that is in the realm of its own in terms of power, far surpassing any form or technique that Goku has used, and even then it's only enough to satisfy Beerus, who's still yet to go all out. Akira Toriyama then gives his own power levels for God Goku, Beerus, and Whis, as he labels God Goku as 6, Beerus a 10, and Whis being a 15. This 6 compared to Beerus' 10 doesn't seem all that far off, and honestly if it wasn't retcon, you could honestly make a case to say that Goku should have logically caught up to Beerus, seeing how he got stronger by an unquantifiable amount from the Battle of Gods arc to the end of Dragon Ball Super's anime adaptation in the TOP with MUI. But this isn't the case. Because you know, retcon. We then jump to the Resurrection of F arc, which involves Goku and Vegeta both gaining new forms that are at bare minimum 50 times stronger than Super Saiyan God, and even Super Saiyan Blue isn't enough for Goku or Vegeta to defeat Beerus, and they certainly aren't confident in facing him. We then get to the Universe 6 arc, and Goku unveils a technique that he intended to use against Beerus after the tournament concluded, specifically Blue Kaioken. The max that Goku can take it up to is times 10. And whilst the power and form actually does shock Beerus, he's more shocked in the sense that he didn't expect Goku to grow that fast and bring out that much power in short bursts. We don't get an update on the current standing between Goku vs Beerus until the TOP, where Goku is able to tap into Ultra Instinct and wield a power that not even the strongest gods of destruction can hope to achieve, and he did this within 48 minutes of the TOP. Goku was able to use this power to defeat Jiren, a man that was stated to be above the gods of destruction in the anime. Despite Jiren getting even stronger than his already overwhelming power, Goku was still able to single-handedly defeat him. At the time, a lot of people believed that Goku had managed to surpass Beerus due to the aforementioned reasons above, but the manga completely changed everything. During the Moro arc, we see Goku go through an absolute evolution in terms of Ultra Instinct, eventually being able to tap into the Silverhead version once again, and stomp Angel Moro, before slowly getting overwhelmed by Planet Moro. Beerus is prepared to intervene and clean up a threat that not even Ultra Instinct Goku could defeat, but luckily he doesn't have to get involved, as Goku was able to beat Moro with the Spirit Bomb. During the Granola arc, an enraged Blue Evolution Vegeta spars against Beerus, who's able to casually destroy him, and use their sparring match as a way to motivate Vegeta to get stronger. Keep in mind that Granola arc Blue Evolved Vegeta is far stronger than any previous iteration of Goku, possibly even being able to give MUI Goku a run for his money, specifically MUI Goku from the Tournament of Power of course, as Vegeta has improved significantly since then, and just becomes way more stronger. Yet Beerus is still able to stomp Vegeta with no difficulty whatsoever. The final nail in the coffin is during a later chapter of Dragon Ball Super, where we get a direct confirmation that Beerus is still above Goku and Vegeta even at their peak. So what does this have to do with Black Frieza vs Beerus, especially considering the fact that Black Frieza is far above Goku and Vegeta? Well, right after the chapter with Black Frieza debuted, V-Jump released an official statement in regards to Black Frieza's power, which reveals that not only did Goku and Vegeta reach the realm of the gods with their power, but Black Frieza's own power is far closer to even that of a god of destruction. However, it's not specifically stated that Frieza's power has reached god of destruction level, which is insane, but we can't really argue with the statements. To put it simply, even if we say that Frieza has surpassed the weaker gods of destruction, his power should still pale in comparison to Beerus, who is the strongest god of destruction. There are no statements to support Black Frieza being above Beerus, as Beerus's power is quite literally constantly changing because the plot demands it. He went from using 10% of his power against Goku to a self-proclaimed 70% of his power against Goku, to curb stomping Granola Arc Blue Evolved Vegeta, to outright being far above even MUI Goku. It's practically impossible to scale Beerus' power because there isn't much concrete evidence to use, and when we stray away from what's concrete, we start to dip into headcanon territory, which is more disingenuous to the series. So until Black Frieza and Beerus fight, or we get a completely new statement that supports Black Frieza being stronger than Beerus, he is nowhere near Beerus' power. At his absolute best, he's the strongest mortal in Universe 7, and stronger than the weaker gods of destruction like Sidra, but Beerus still remains supreme.